Something a little different today. Excel has added a new formula called Copilot, and it looks very interesting. But I actually think it's going to change the way in which we use Excel. Because what I did is we had a look, it's not an open release yet, so not able to show you exact examples, but they're here on the page. But what I did is I used Copilot itself to search and tell me what examples I could use. Now, this gave me a little bit of a reminder about which AI systems you use and why. So Copilot struggled to give me any answers about this because it was released this week. But when I went to Gemini, which uses web related search as well, it actually was able to give me examples and data to go with this. So it always shows you that the right AI for the right job, it's not always the same. And some have pros and cons. So let's go through them. I asked it to give me some examples of some financial based calculations here. And it went through and it said, here we go, Copilot analyze the sentiment of this headline. And it was basically saying you can actually work out sentiment analysis for some news headlines. I was like, well, that's not really that great of an example. And it gave me some more quite kind of, I wouldn't say great examples. So what I did is I pushed it a little bit harder and then said, just give me some general work-based examples. And it still gave me some interesting use cases, but I couldn't really kind of grasp how to use it. So I pushed it further and said, give me a data set to use to go with it. And then things kind of came a little bit clearer. So this is the nitty gritty. As we come in here, here's some examples of some tasks. Finalize Q through budget, CO needs it by a Friday, team member comments. And what the formula is going to do here is two different ones. Copilot is going to assign the priority of this task, high, medium, and low, based on the description. So that's what large language models are good at, the kind of analysis of words and sentiment. And then the next one is summarize the state of this task based on the team comments. So this is a really good way to get that kind of planner stuff that people don't really keep on top of in to Excel. But that then talks about how you use Excel, because I don't think many people would use Excel in this way to put their comments into different cells to do this. But this is where you might have a check-in form with Microsoft Forms to put into your Excel. So I think what's going to be more interesting about Copilot formulas is going to change the way in which you gather information into Excel. And then it can be really powerful. So it's not going to be out the box great. It's going to be kind of a bit more of a project planning rethink, I think, a really powerful one. And I'm going to really have a play with it. Here with sales and marketing, qualify this lead as hot, warm, or cold. This is going to be great. So if you do have kind of contact me now forms on your website that go into Excel or other tables, this is going to be great to do it. Then draft a follow-up email for this person. So this means that if your company doesn't use or have Copilot within Outlook and things like that, then this is going to be a way to bypass that. So I think this is going to be extremely powerful. And there's some examples of some lead notes that you have, and you can do the hot, medium, or cold. And then you could use something like Power Automate to qualify that, or Microsoft Lists to put into this with some automations to go in there. I'm going to really enjoy getting my hands onto these formulas, actually. Going to really nerd out in Excel again. I think it's bringing Excel back to the forum. Just as Excel maybe was dying in people's minds, it's back again. Risen from the grave. It will never die, our Excel. It should maybe a little bit, but it's never going to. And then human resources. Does this candidate have at least 5 years of experience? Okay, we're getting into CV kind of scoping in here. I think this is a gray area of AI use myself, but it's an example here about the candidate qualifications and a 3-point onboarding checklist for a marketing manager. I really like these examples now. And here, a really good one, general administration, data cleansing. Formulas like using, as it's going to say before, about kind of split, trim, and all those kind of formulas that people may or may not know about, you're going to not need them. So here it's going to take these random people's names that are all over the shop, maybe from a form that you have online, and it's going to put them into proper names, removing titles or spaces, and it's going to outcome that into usable data for your CRM system or your marketing tool. That, I think, is going to be a big one. Do we trust it to get it right? I think I think we'll trust it to get most of the job done and then a check afterwards. This will really speed stuff up. Customer support as well. Another, maybe you've got a form online again about your customer. Categorize the feedback in one of the following: product defect, shipping issue, and then give a sentiment analysis. Really good for social media if you can get that imported into Excel and do that positive, negative, neutral stuff for you. Really, really useful. And I think now we've got some data here to talk about it. We can put this into context. So when this comes out into public release, be all over this. For those people that use Excel, the application, this might be an example where you might want to go to Excel Online to get first use of this. I'm always a good user of online tools for Microsoft, but I'm really excited about this. And while I have reservations about people not checking their AI properly and just taking what it's got, I think for those that use this responsibly and put into this things like Power Automate, put things into like Microsoft Lists, this is going to be exceptionally good in the workspace. I think Microsoft's done a really good job here, and this is where people are going to use AI more than I see it being used with third-party tools, because this is going to be straight into Excel. You can email people content. I can really see this working well. What do you think?